Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Ville, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. How you doing this morning? This afternoon, I should say. You see it's been a long day. Let me start with you, Charles. How you hanging in there?
Yeah, the semester is over. Now we are full-fledged into Christmas golf, so looking forward to it.
Sounds like you must have got all your grades in.
Yes, all
Mike,
grades are posted.
Oh man, I'm doing good. Still trying to wrap up the year with this and that and what have you. You know how it is when you get to the end of the year, you got to wrap up this and that. But got the boys flew in town, and we're gonna get a little golf in this Friday as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. With that being said, before we get into the introduction, Charles, how was your weekend in Atlanta?
Oh, it was tremendous weekend. When you talk about all the interviews that we were able to get done over the weekend, the Band of the Year competition, which is a whole other story that we could go get into. But it was a tremendous weekend. But more than anything, getting an opportunity to see colleagues in this HBCU media business was really fulfilling. So really enjoyed the weekend tremendously.
With that being said, Mike, how was yours?
Man, just to echo what Charles is saying, whenever you get to meet with fellow HBCU media, it's becoming quite the fraternity in and of itself. So you get an event like this and you get us all together and we get to share in person versus, over multimedia. That's one of the biggest benefits. The other thing that I can't, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention is the familial environment. I always take the opportunity at about the third quarter, just get a feel for how the crowd is. And it was always good. I have video of arguments between Southern folks, TSU folks, A&T folks, Valley folks, Alcorn State, all were present at the game. So it's good to see other SWAC folks continuing to support this game and even being caught up in a lot of the sideline argument and jostling and back and forth. I think that was good as well for me and one of my major takeaways as well.
Get a little more into that, Mike. I see every year, at least for the last 2, maybe 3 years, you decided to exit out of the press box and you go partake a little bit in terms of the sideline. I think Charles did it a year ago, 2 years ago, I think he did that. Give me a little more in terms of what you see going down in the atmosphere versus what we are doing and trying to cover everything in the press box.
Well, what you don't get a feel for in the press box is those game time attitudes by folks and the cheering by folks that don't have teams at the game. You saw basically TSU folks rooting really hard for FAMU, and then you saw that competition stop, and then they talked about the bands, and then you get closer to the field and you see parents and generations of folks dancing to the music. and really get into as the band struck up, really getting into the band. You can't get that feeling in the press box. You can't get it if you walk up and down the aisles or just stop in a pocket of a group of folks on the sideline that are just talking, or up in the stands that are just talking. You just can't get that in the press box where they tell you, hey, you can't cheer, you can't do this, you're not even supposed to argue. Now that's never stopped me, but needless to say, you can't get that feeling, that energy, unless you go down into the audience, go down, take a look or walk on the field, take a walk up in the stands and near some of the clubhouses, and you'll see folks just dancing and arguing away, and it's one big fat SWAC MEAC family reunion.
Charles, go in yours a little bit in terms of what that looks like, not necessarily in the stands, but your perspective of being on the field in terms of what that is like as you were a year ago.
I mean, you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension of the game time decisions, especially sometimes knowing what plays are going to be called, knowing what defenses are going to be called, and just from that standpoint of looking to see who was going to execute and see what would happen. But you feel the angst. You felt the angst from the Jackson State crowd last year in terms of I go back to that last drive where Jackson State had to tie it to just send it to overtime, and it's almost indescribable in terms of just kind of being on the edge of sanity, if you will. But the guys were making plays, and then for Travis Hunter to make the touchdown catch in the waning seconds, it was just an unbelievable experience. And then to go through the high and the low there in overtime, you really felt it. I mean, it really felt almost as though a weight was on your chest. And I laughed because I said, coming into this year's Celebration Bowl, although Jackson State wasn't here, I had a chance to kind of sit back and look around and enjoy a lot more of it in regards to just the atmosphere of the game itself and being back up in the press box.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, welcome to episode 472 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. The show and podcast that is covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, filming from our home studios and sending a signal live, Case Waste 1230 AM studios, with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let's get into some of the news of the day. Let me start with you, Charles. What's on your mind?
Yeah, obviously. Well, we'll start with this. If you were under a rock, we'll tell you who won the Celebration Bowl. It's Florida A&M. They won the Celebration Bowl over Howard to capture the HBCU national title, and it was after winning the first ever Division I AA championship game 45 years ago. FAMU once again reached the mountaintop, beating the Howard Bison 30-26. The win is just the second for the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl, snapping a 5-game loser streak. Florida A&M's running back Kevin Dean, he was named the offensive MVP after finishing with 3 receptions for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, Jeremy Musa, accounted for 289 yards, 19 of 32 passes, and scored 3 touchdowns. John Marie Shareed, he hauled in 5 receptions for 56 yards on a touchdown, while also registering a 48-yard punt return. And Marcus Riley, he gave the team a boost on special teams with a 41-yard kickoff return. And SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, Isaiah Major, he was named the defensive MVP, posting 6 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a game-sealing interception. So kudos go out to Rattler Nation for bringing home the Celebration Bowl trophy for the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Man, that was big-time excitement, big-time plays all over the field in terms of Celebration Bowl. Man, it was good.
Emotional swings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, particularly good to see that FAMU Rattlers bringing it home for the SWAC. Mike, what is on your mind in terms of news of the day?
Not quite as exciting, but quite as intriguing, and quite as raise your eye, raise both eyebrows, and you're expecting to see some movement. So Alcorn State University announces Cedric Thomas as head football coach. From a number of sources, alcornsports.com, of course, HBCU, Game Day Sports all had articles. There was a couple of tweets around it if you follow HBCU tweets. So Cedric Thomas is the new coach, announced today. He becomes the 22nd head coach in program history. Alcorn State University's commitment to our football program and student athletes is unwavering, according to Dr. Tracy M. Cook. I'm thrilled to appoint Cedric Thomas as our new head coach. I believe he's uniquely positioned to continue our championship tradition, his passion for the game, approach to leadership of our students, and his vision for the future will continue to strengthen our culture and excellence as a leader in the SWAC. Interim director, on the other hand, Robert Raines, is pleased with the appointment of Thomas. We are grateful that Cedric Thomas has agreed to be our new head coach. Thomas brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in the program. As an Alcorn alumnus, Coach Thomas is familiar with the face of the program, which I think is important. Having served 2 stints with the Braves, he aligns perfectly with the culture, has a great command of the program and rapport with the players, and is committed to sustaining a winning program centered on strong academics, community outreach, and high character student athletes. Coach Thomas shared his thoughts on being selected for his new role at the university. According to him, I'm extremely humbled, thankful, and honored for this opportunity to lead the Braves as the new head football coach, said Thomas. I'll continue to build on this foundation that was laid for me by so many legendary coaches, players, and staff. And Lord knows there's a lot of legendary figures in that statement. We will continue to make the university and alumni base proud of our culture. So congratulations to Coach Thomas, who has been named. There's a plethora of awards in his background. I won't go through all of the details, but he has extensive experience. Delta Community College. He's a seasoned leader. Coach Thomas joined the staff in March of 2022 as a coordinator. So the Cleveland, Mississippi native. CB, I know you know where that is, takes the reins of the programs after a stint as defensive back coach from 2012 to 2015 and defensive coordinator in 2016 and 2017. So again, congratulations to Coach Thomas as the new head football coach for Alcorn.
Yes, and that's the premise that Fred McNair is out as the head coach, looking as he was considering heading to Texas Southern University, but we'll see what's going on there. We also have an announcement from Grambling. Charles, provide that information.
Yeah, Mickey Joseph embraces elevating the Tiger football program. He's back in familiar surroundings, a well-traveled college assistant who worked at Grambling at one of his many coaching stops in his 25-year career, a return to the school as the program's 15th head coach. And this is a statement from Mickey Joseph here in his introductory press conference. It's great to be back. It's great to be back. I want to thank you guys for believing in me. I want to thank the search committee for believing in me and everybody that's here today. I stand for you today, that I'm here to win on the field and off the field. So big hire for the Grambling State University to get Mickey Joseph into the fold as they try to get back within the upper echelon of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So we got a lot of coaching changes, a lot of coaching hires and whatnot.
Good stuff. When we get into these coaching hires, a lot going on, a lot of movement, but it looks like we're closing down. We still got Texas Southern University and Morehouse College out there in terms of looking and going through the process of searching for a head coach. Thing I'll put out here is Celebration Bowl viewership dips to a historic rating low from HBCUsports.com. The latest edition of the Celebration Bowl was the least watched game. Florida A&M 30-26, as you know, was the score. Exciting as always. Drew a 0.9 TV rating, which is the smallest audience of the 8-year history of the event, according to Sports Media Watch. It did draw 1.5 million viewers, which is quite bigger than what we've seen in the playoffs, just in terms of a comparison. However, the Celebration Bowl did draw ratings that more than or higher than the Myrtle Beach, New Orleans, and Independence Bowl this past Saturday, to give you some indication of what that looks like. North Carolina Central 41-34 upset of Jackson State last season. In the seventh installment of the MEAC Bowl, drew 2.4 million viewers and featured 1.42 overnight ratings on ABC, according to Show Buzz Daily, to give you some indication of what that looks like. And so that's an update there in terms of the bowl watch and all that is there. With that being said, we're going to get into our first break, come back on the other side. Let's get into some of these final poll rankings. Obviously, mid-major, major division, no surprise at the top. But I want to get these thoughts and gentlemen's thoughts on the top 7 poll rankings, including those just outside, to see if there are any question or concerns. There was some changes, both in the mid-major, major division, and I have some data to support to see what these gentlemen say. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this first break.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Impress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get into these poll rankings. I want to see what you think. Starting with the mid-major, as you said, no intrigue in terms of the teams moving up the poll rankings, but you might get some thoughts in regards to those teams moving down. So I want to get your final mindset on what goes on there with those mid-major poll rankings. Get into it. Let's start with those outside of pro rankings getting the voting. At number 8, essentially, is Albany State Golden Rams, 6-5, 6-2, 121 points. Tuskegee Golden Tigers, 7-3, 6-2, 116 points. And Allen Yellow Jackets, 7-3, 5-3, 112. But let's get into the top 7 to see what you think this week. At number 7, Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls, as they fall in the bowl rankings at 7-4. They fall 2 spots from 7 this week, ending the season with 129 points. Bringing us to number 6, Miles Golden Bears, 7-3, 6-2. Overall, they remain in the 6th spot, but jumping all the way up into the top 7 at number 5 is Fort Valley State Wildcats. They finished the season 7-3, 6-2, 140 points, as they were not ranked. But the big win in the Beach Bowl, Florida Beach Bowl, got them into the top 7. Bringing us to number 4, Florida State Trojans finished the season at 8-2, 6-2, 144 points. Ranked number 4. At number 3, Fayetteville State Broncos, 8-2, 6-2, 144 points at number 4. At number 3, Fayetteville State Broncos, 8-3, 8-0, 163 points, remaining in the 3rd spot. No changes at number 2. Virginia Union Panthers finished the season, as you know, at 10-2, 7-1, 180 points. And number 1, Benedict Tigers finished the season at 11-1, 8-0, number 9, 189 points. Remaining number 1, second consecutive year of getting it done. undefeated in the regular season. Coach Chennis Berry taps his career off at Benedict Tigers with the #1 ranking in Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU mid-major division football top 7. The Benedict Tigers are the unanimous #1 HBCU mid-major division champions for the final poll. Dropping out this week, as I told you, jumped in Fort Valley State. Dropping out was Tuskegee, and they fall all the way from #7 to actual 9 spot based on some changes there. Let me go to you, Charles. First, what are thoughts in terms of Benedict? As we said, far gone conclusion. But more than that, what are your thoughts about Fort Valley jumping in the top 7 and how far they jumped in?
Yeah, that bowl victory did Fort Valley a world of good, jumping into the top 7. So kudos to Fort Valley for that. I can't say enough about the Benedict program over the past 2 years. They've been as dominant as what Bowie State prior to in the CIAA, and they did a phenomenal job in terms of being the hunted and being able to answer the call, even from some of the tougher challenges in the SIAC. So I think South Carolina State, they hit a home run in terms of the hire with Chennis Berry, because we saw what he was able to do at Benedict. So kudos to them for being Dr. Ville's mid-major HBCU national champion.
Good stuff, good stuff. Mike, what are your thoughts? Same question in terms of Benedict Tigers, but just as much about Fort Valley jumping in the top 7.
No, nothing for me really with your top 4. I think that win in the Florida Bowl really catapulted Fort Valley. So, I mean, that this is going to be one time I know that I say there's nothing wrong with Dr. Ville's poll. So I know you're surprised, but to me it was Benedict and everyone else. Virginia Union, yeah. At the record they finished, but no issues whatsoever, especially for that. I wondered, could they have jumped further, to be honest? So
let me give you some data before we close out this segment, just to see if those stats still holding true. When you talk about Benedict, ranked #1, they had 4 top 10 wins in this final poll, 0 top 10 losses. They did have the 1 playoff loss. Virginia Union, the Panthers, had 2 top 10 wins, 1 top 10 loss. Fayetteville State, 2 top 10 wins, 1 top 10 loss. Virginia State at #4 had 0 top 10 wins, but they had 1 top 10 loss, and they did have 1 HBCU FCS Division I win. They did have the tough loss as well, Elizabeth City State. And #5, Fort Valley State had 2 top 10 wins, 3 top 10 losses. And #6, Miles, had 2 top 10 wins, 2 top 10 losses. They also had the 1 top 10 HBCU Division I win. At #7, you had Johnson C. Smith, 0 top 10 wins, 2 top 10 losses, 1 non-conference win against a historic Light College. At #8, you had Albany State, 2 top 10 wins, 2 top 10 losses. At #9, Tuskegee, 1 top 10 win, 2 top 10 losses. Allen had 1 top 10 win and 3 top 10 losses, just to give you some perspective of how the top 7, including the 3 outside receiving votes, fared in terms of competition when measured by those top 10 rankings and a couple of other components as well. Any final thought after hearing that, Charles?
It speaks to the dominance of Benedict. I mean, after hearing that, it's like, wow. They really were that team, So that's very impressive data that has been gathered with regards to how impressive I thought the Benedict Tigers were this past year.
Any final thoughts from you, Mike?
no, I go back to my statement. I wonder if Fort Valley could have dropped higher. I didn't have that data, but you can, to me, to be in the top 5, you got to have some top 10 wins. Virginia State, if I heard you correctly, had none, correct?
Yep. Virginia State had 0
So that's
top
the only
10 wins, 1 top 10 loss. They did have 1 1 HBC win. It was not a top 10 in terms of the major division. That was a win against Norfolk State.
So I was kind of eyeballing the records. I didn't have that data to have time to really put it together, but
Right,
just kind of with that that win, could you make an argument for Fort Valley even jumping up higher over maybe one or two? That's the only. Other than that, no issues with the poll.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I always love to see after the fact what people think when you do the data in terms of comparison. But that was a little surprise. Well done by everybody. Let's get into our next break. We'll come back on the other side, give you the major division, same framework to see what changes may have happened there. Obviously, the number one ranking is a given. But let's see in the rest of the top 7 and those hanging outside in terms of the 10 team poll rankings. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome everybody to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
When you compress the analytic data with your hip hop, if you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bills inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get into the major division poll rankings. We shouldn't surprise you about the number one, but let's jump right into it. The receiving votes, top 7. Not a lot in terms of what this looks like in those teams. We've seen them before, but maybe some difference in terms of the top 7. You have at number 8, essentially Southern Jaguars, 6-5, 5-3, 169 points. At number 9, Tennessee State Tigers, 6-5, 2-4, 150 points. And jumping into the top 10 this week is South Carolina State Bulldogs, finished the season 5-6, 3-2, 147 points. Last couple of weeks, receiving votes was Grambling. Let's get into the top 7. No changes in terms of those in and out, but some changes in terms of where teams end up in final poll rankings. At number 7, Jackson State Tigers finished the season at 7-4, 5-3, 175 points, and they stay in the 7th spot. At number 6, Alabama State Hornets also finished the season at 6 in the same spot they were previously, with a record of 7-4 and 5-3, 180 points. At number 5, Prairie View A&M Panthers, 6-6, 6-2, 191 points, and they fall a spot at number 4. Bringing us to number 4, the Howard Bison, 6-6 on the season, 41 points, 192 points. They were previously ranked 2, and they dropped all the way to 4, 2 spots. Bringing us to 4, Howard Bison, 6 after losing the Celebration Bowl, finished the season at 6-6, 4-1. The final conference rank, 192 points. As I said, dropped 2 spots this week after losing the bowl game. At number 3, Alcorn State Braves, 7-4, 6-2, 120 points. Previously ranked 5, and they move up 3 spots this week after the Howard loss and the rearranging in the poll rankings. At number 2, North Carolina Central Eagles jumped to number 2. 9-3, 4-1, 230 points. They move up one slot. Number 1, Florida A&M Rattlers, 12-1, 8-0, 12 first place votes, 252 points, 1 first place power ranking. The Florida A&M Rattlers unanimous 2023 number 1 HBCU major division champions. Final, not surprising anybody, doing it in style, winning the Celebration Bowl, getting it done. With that being said, I'm going to start with you, Mike. What are your thoughts in terms of FAMU winning the championship, Dr. Ville's major division football power ranking? But more important than that, I want to know also, what do you think in terms of the top 7?
What in Dr. Scrooge? What in the name of the Holy Grinch? Who put this Powerball together? First of all, I have no FAMU number 1 unequivocally. But you look at it, I need to understand what the factors are for power ranking. North Carolina Central lost head-to-head to Howard. Yes, you can say the record. Lost head-to-head. They weren't the champions. They were not in the Celebration Bowl. Prairie View A&M, West SWAC West champs, yet you have Alcorn State at number 3 ahead of Prairie View after a head-to-head loss late or middle of the season. So I need to understand a little bit. Howard Bison, yes, they're 6-6, but to their credit, to be the champ, you got to be the champ. They are the MEAC champs. They played in the Celebration Bowl, and for a good half, we're beating Florida A&M. So I think we need to do some rearrangements between 2 and 5.
Charles, you saw Mike show out. What are your thoughts?
Prairie View has the head-to-head over Alcorn. That's the first one that really jumps out at me. Granted, Alcorn by virtue of their 7-4 record is better than Prairie View's overall record, but PV does have this head-to-head, and they are the SWAC West champions. So if I'm going to drop Howard, I think you can make an argument for North Carolina Central as number 2, but I would slot Howard at 3, Prairie View 4, Alcorn 5.
I can go with that. You could make an argument for North Carolina Central, but the other 2 not made head-to-head. No.
Well, let me give you some of the factors and see what you think after this. Great dialogue and great first review posts in terms of head-to-head. Certainly something that you need to consider. Winning teams, losers, and things of that nature are all great points you make. FAMU, 6 top 10 wins, 0 top 10 losses. North Carolina Central had 1 top 10 win, 1 top 10 loss, 1 top 25 historically white college win, 1 top 25 loss that was in the playoffs. They had 2 D1 non-conference wins as well. Alcorn State, the Braves, 3 top 10 wins, 1 top 10 loss, 1 win, non-conference win against a D1 FCS program, historically white college. Howard had 1 top 10 win, 2 top 10 losses, 1 historically white non-conference win. Prairie View, 3 top 10 wins, 2 top 10 losses in terms of their ranking. Alabama State, 2 top 10 wins, 3 top 10 losses. They had a loss to a top 10 D2 program. They did have 1 D1 non-conference win. That was a HBCU win, as you know. Jackson State, 2 top 10 wins, 3 top 10 losses, 1 D1 HBCU non-conference win. In terms of those rankings there, to give you a little more than in terms of South Carolina State, 1 top 10 win and 2 top 10 losses, to give you some updates in terms of some of those wins and losses from the teams. Any secondary thought after hearing those wins, losses, Charles Bishop?
Prairie View's non-conference losses are very painful. I think that obviously would factor in. Who was Alcorn's non-conference win?
It was against McNeese State.
McNeese State. Yeah. Okay. That's I'll take that for Alcorn. But I mean, I know Mike probably you put more emphasis on this than the head-to-head. That head-to-head still that I have to weigh that out with the Prairie View losses out of conference. So for me, probably the head-to-head, it still matters.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Mike. Your final thoughts in terms after hearing some of the data in terms of the number of top 10 wins, losses, as well as some non-conference wins or losses?
Yes, for me, if you're looking at criteria, I first look at head-to-head. Then I do also look at kind of the strength of schedule. You do it in the form of top 10 wins and losses. I don't disagree with. But when you factor in, to me, more or weighted more is head-to-head, I still think your top four are FAMU, Howard, North Carolina Central, PV, then Alcorn. You could, and I agree with Chuck that you can make an argument that North Carolina Central still number 2. But the way they lost, that's a hard justification. So those are my top 4 still, even with all of that considered.
Very fair, very fair. Glad that you all are not in the room in terms of developing who needs to be in the Celebration Bowl, the Cricket Celebration Bowl. That it's a conference winner and who wins the end, because it's up to you all, particularly if there's a playoff, top 4. It'll be interesting who gets that top 4 spot. Prairie would be in on Rawls. It would be out on mine. So that's fascinating when you start to think about, how if you expanded the playoffs, particularly just the 4 teams, we would have some conversation here in terms of who gets that 4th spot in terms of that matchup. So you would have a rematch of the Celebration Bowl. Would it be a semifinals contest with Florida A&M against Howard? The other semifinals would be North Carolina Central against Alcorn State. And it looks like, Mike, you had Prairie View where?
I had them
How far in the top 4?
Yeah, top 4.
Where? I need to know the ranking because it determines on where they're going to do the semifinal.
I had
you have them 3 or 4.
I still had FAMU, Howard, North Carolina Central, PV 4, Alcorn 5.
So you would have a third rematch in terms of the semifinals, FAMU versus Prairie View, and then you would have North Carolina Central and Howard in a rematch. Charles, where did you have Prairie View?
I had them at 4. Yeah, I had them top 4.
You had them so same thing as Mike in terms of that matchup. So interesting, and I thought that would be a nice case study, and that's why I kind of did it that way. And now you found out why we are not in the back rooms. But if they ever have a playoff, they can call us, and we'll make sure we'll set up the top 4 teams with our rankings. We'll get it done. With that, we'll be on the next third break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll have a guest waiting for you to get in and talk a little bit about the championship. Stick with us. Be right back after this break.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and Instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messages quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Vills. Inside the HBC Sports Lab, you saw a picture there of the championship celebration. That's because the Florida A&M Rattlers won the 2023 Cricket Celebration Bowl. And we have the championship head coach. Many accolades continue to come his way, including the national HBCU champions. Many poll rankings is going to be consensus in many ways. Which is a statement in itself in terms of just the historic season. A lot of connections. People are making different ones. 45 years ago, you heard people talk about that at the press conference when FAMU won the first ever Division I AA championship, it was called at the time. But all those things being said, welcome, Coach Simmons.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Great to see you again.
Oh,
how you doing, Coach?
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Man, it's going well.
Congratulations.
Let me put some, as they say, let me put some respect on it. Hashtag respect on it. The champion is here. The champion is here. How's it feel, Coach?
Man, it feels awesome. You know, it still feels a little surreal, but great feeling. Just really, again, proud of the guys, proud of the staff, the support staff, just everyone that made this possible. You know, it's been a long journey, and you know, championships are hard to come by. And we're blessed to be in a position to be recognized as the 2023 HBCU National Champions.
Man, that's pretty good, pretty good. Let me ask one similar question. When did you feel it? When did it recognize? You know, once the clock ran to zero, I was calling down, once the confetti, once they handed you the trophy, or was it back in the press room? When did it kind of hit home, or was it even like on the bus ride after you hug your family, including your wife? I didn't get a chance to tell her congratulations, so please pass that on. But with that regards, when did it hit you, or has it hit you?
Well, I think when Terrell got the last first down, you know, with a minute and 30-some on the clock, which at that point we knew they couldn't stop it again. And so, you know, right then it was the realization that unless, you know, and I wasn't going to pull a Miami, we were going to kneel the ball and get it over with. But at that moment, that's when, you know, Ray Matthews, who coached me in high school, has been a dear friend for over 25 years, you know, who assistant chief of, not chief of staff, but the director of operations, and he grabbed me and just embraced me and hugged me. You know, it's just right then all the emotions poured out, just because, again, you know, he was instrumental in getting me back to FAMU. Went to FAM, played there, knows how, you know, important that moment was for just me, Rattler Nation. That's when it really hit home. And we had our moment there, and the players ruined it by dousing us both with Gatorade. Right then, that's when it kind of hit that, hey, man, this thing, we finally done it. And it's a hard-fought game, back and forth game. And to be able to pull it out in that fashion, man, what made it all that much sweeter.
Now I at least know who to blame. Taking your talents back to Florida. With that being said, before I pass the mic, I know there's never doubt because you can't allow it to seep in. Coach, players, when you're playing for the ultimate prize. But going through the emotions of a roller coaster of a game, what did you lean on when you said, hey, these are the things that we need to do? We know things may not be going here, or a couple of big plays will call back these, which had to be emotional roller coaster in itself. But lean on to allow you to say, hey, we got to play a full game, and we'll let it stand, whatever happens after that.
Yeah, just like I've told the team many times this year. When times get hard, when adversity sets in, you lean on your foundation. We all grew up hearing the story of the Three Little Pigs. And we said we want to build our house on a solid foundation. And when the winds come blowing, that's what sustains it. And so our 7 F's is what you got to lean on. The first one of those is faith. And so, right out the gate, you go down 14-0. You got to believe. You got to have faith. And when we went into the fourth quarter, it was a big 4th and 6, probably one of the biggest plays of the game. And we have our ritualistic deal where we all come together as a team, and one of the guys leads us, yells out fourth quarter, and the team recites it back, says our quarter. And we say it a few times. And so right when we got done, I just asked them all, do you believe it? Do we believe that this is our quarter? And so that overall belief and faith that you prepared yourself for this moment, you're ready, that's what it boils down to. And then everything else follows from there, So I never doubted it. It's a 60-minute football game. And that's why they play 60. They don't. And I told the team, I used many analogies, but I used the one that, hey, we've all played the game of football, and we've seen and watched football, and we've seen guys make big plays and break long runs, and they get down and want to show off and drop the ball like they're going into the end zone. And you've seen a few times they actually drop the ball before they cross the line. And I asked them all, how many points did those guys get for those drops? None. You don't get a point for getting to the line. You get credit for going through the line. And so, they don't hand out they're not 4 trophies that they give in a championship game. You don't get one for winning the first quarter, then one for winning the second quarter, and the third. You get a trophy at the end because the team that finishes is the one that gets the prize. And so for us, we always wanted to make sure that we kept ourselves in that mindset that we just have to continue to play good football, strain, fight, compete, believe, and in the end, we'll come out victorious. And we were able to do that 12 times this season, and that's a testament to the guys' belief in what we do and what we talk about, and I didn't see a lot of panic. That was the thing I was most impressed about. We went down 14-0. I didn't look on the sideline and see a lot of panicking. I didn't see guys starting to bicker and they're starting to divide. I heard guys saying, hey, we've been here before. Hey, remember Texas Southern?
Yep.
So we kind of drew back to those experiences to remember, hey, we've been down before. And so we didn't panic. We went in at halftime down 6, and I literally told the guys at halftime, guys, we probably played our worst half of football and we're down 6. And so if we just get back to who we are, we'll be fine. And the guys, took heed to that, and we were able to go out the second half and play, start to get some momentum going. Didn't score in the third quarter, but we started to move the ball a little bit, really shut them down offensively. And then in the fourth quarter, we were able to bust it open with 3 touchdowns there. So, again, just proud of the guys, man, for just how they persevered, not just in that championship game, but all season. Because, again, that game was kind of a microcosm of what this entire year has been like for us.
This is Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with the champion, Coach Willie Simmons, after winning the Cricket Celebration Bowl 30-26 over the Howard Bison, as Howard Bison closed the season at 6-6, and you closed the season at 12-1. With that being said, let me go to you, Charles, and let you ask a follow-up question.
Yeah, obviously, Florida A&M, story, tradition, tremendous history. In a lot of ways, Coach Simmons, you're a student of that history and that tradition of FAMU. But I wanted to ask, was there a congratulatory call or text that you got over the past couple of days that really, put a big smile on your face?
Well, yeah, there were actually a few of them. Obviously, I got the traditional friends and family congrats. I got some congrats from some of my former colleagues, former coaches that I played under. But the first one, I was able to FaceTime Rudy Hubbard and have a conversation with him, and he was candid about me giving him a little bit of high blood pressure that first quarter, and but just congratulated us on on how we just finished the game in the season. He follows us closely. He's very proud of the work that we've done here. So that meant the world. And then, yesterday, I got a text from Joe Taylor.
Oh, wow.
Saying congratulations. And so Billy Joe Taylor, that when I'm able to hear from those legendary coaches who've been there, Sam Washington, Broadway, all those guys congratulated me on the win. And those type of things are really what makes, my heart swell, because, again, those legendary coaches are recognizing the good work that we're doing here at FAMU.
No doubt. And then you get your Celebration Bowl red jacket.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Trey kind of gave me some information that didn't make me feel so well. I saw him in the lobby. I think it was either Friday night or Saturday. I can't remember exactly when it was. But he said he had just come from dinner, because I guess the initiation for the new coach is that they got to treat the other coaches to dinner. And so don't worry about mistake. I just need the money for mistake, because I'm going to have to spend it on them next year.
I wonder why you didn't show up for our steak dinner. We sent the Texas. So please let the people know we did go out to steak Saturday night. We sent you pictures to verify that. A very fine steakhouse. Charles picked it out, found it, had extra seat and everything. Had two of them, just in case you don't need to bring the wife. We wanted to be fair, chivalry. We knew that. We got it done. Reservations and everything, Coach. We sent you pictures, so you know this. So just make sure you tell the people. But I understand. You're right. Since you don't have to go dig in your deep pocket as if you're not going to have bonuses coming now, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of that with the coaches and let the coaches know it's on us. Mike, with that being said, before we take this next break and come back and see you on the other side and ask some further questions, Coach, go ahead and ask your question.
I just want to tip of the hat. Notice it's neutral, because it's not Rattler orange. Remember, I just want you to know you went on record and promised me a Rattler visor. So I'm going to keep this neutral. Now you're going to get one with championship on it. Now I'm going to get one. I'll pay for that thing. So, Coach, I think this is kind of a tee off of Dr. Cavill's question. Through the ebb and flows of the game, it was up and down. I never saw you guys get flustered. I have a tendency to leave the press box and go down just to get a feel. You guys never looked flustered. Probably one of the most crucial moments is as Musa, he had that pick six. He turns around and goes to the sideline. He looked frustrated, but he didn't look down. Can you tell us what were your words to him, or if any, or guidance to him, if any, because he came right back in and jumped right, and here he goes. We score, I don't know how many minutes after, but it was almost like he forgot.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Coach, I don't know if that was for the swag or if he a FAMU fan now. He said we scored. He said we.
You caught that, right? I said we.
I love it. No, when they threw the interception, man, that might have been honestly one of the calmest times that I was the entire game. Because it was just a miscommunication, a misassignment from the tight ends, on the block and on the perimeter. And so brought them all over, talked through. I said, we probably won't run it again, but hey, just in case, this is how we handle that situation. But I said, hey, we're good. And really, that was all I said to him. We're good. We get the ball back. Let's go answer. And so, right, like I said, you saw the maturity of the team right then. Like I said, offensive line didn't panic. It was an RPO. So, our offensive lineman, anytime there's a run pass option and you don't hand it off and something bad happens, they typically go crazy. But in that particular situation, nobody had anything slick to say. Hey, it wasn't a run the D ball moment. everybody was just on the same page. Like, hey, we're good. Let's go get this thing. You know, we worked for this. We practiced for it.
Wow.
You know, we're not in 2-minute mode. Like, it's not a panic. It's still 6 minutes up on the clock or whatever it was. We have plenty of time. And, you know, so be able to get the ball, move it down, you know, hit some plays there and get us in position to run the flea flicker. And again, man, the guys did a great job of just settling down and executing and answering what could have been a very, very critical moment in the football game.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach.
Great. There, you talking about the Houston Rockets as they were going for their second repeat. They talked about never get the heart of a champion. Sounds like as you were going for this inaugural championship, it was the mind of a champion. So great point in terms of what you brought out there. Let's take this last break. We'll come back on the other side, have some final questions for Coach Simmons, and then we'll get out of here.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Of course your Buick parks itself. That's so you.
It's just up here on the right.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kinda got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
Hit the field, warm up. You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yeah,
So you.
it is.
There's a Buick that fits your life because at the heart of every Buick SUV is you.
From press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Ville with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. We're here with the SWAC champion, Cricket Celebration champion, HBCU National champion, Coach Willis Simmons of the Florida A&M Rattlers. Give it up to him. Cigars on us as well. Charles, go ahead and follow up with your question.
Yeah, real quick, and Doc and I, we kind of talked a little bit about this after the Celebration Bowl, but not a lot of quarterbacks coming back next year in the SWAC, and it begs the question, like, where do we go from here with regards to Florida A&M's program? You mentioned the maturity of the team, but what's the next step for the Florida A&M program?
Well, obviously, the next step is tomorrow. You know, early signing period starts tomorrow, and you know we have some young men that we're very excited about, you know, bringing into the fold. And so, just like last year, you know, we're going to be aggressive in the transfer portal. There's some positions that we feel we need to fill right away. Quarterback is at the top of that list, and so we have a few quality young men that we've evaluated that we feel really good about. That we feel will be able to come in this spring and compete. You know, right now, Junior Muratovic is the incumbent, but we look forward to a fierce competition between him and the guys we bring in, as well as other guys that are already on the roster. The offensive line, we're going to bring maybe one or two guys in. Fortunately for us, we only lose one starter, Cameron Coven, our right tackle, and the other four starters return, and we get Jalen Goss back for a 6 year. Because of a medical hardship. So our starting left tackle, who was first team preseason all conference, will return. And so that's huge for us. We gotta make some production up at wide receiver. You know, we lose a lot of catches, a lot of yards. And but again, you know, good thing about being in the state of Florida, there's no shortage of long, fast, athletic guys that can run and catch. And so we're good about the ability to go out and attract quality receivers to be able to throw the ball that we become accustomed to. Probably the biggest need is interior defensive line. We lose a lot of guys on the interior defensive line. We only return 2. And so we've been really aggressive in that regard. You know, we picked up a couple of commitments here the last couple of days. And so, you know, that's where it starts. I mean, you playing a championship game on Saturday, and then signing day is 4 days later. So there's not a whole lot of time to rest. You're right back in the office. You're on the phone. You're evaluating film, you know, and doing all those things that it takes to continue to grow your program. So, like I said, it's not a rebuild. It's more of a reload because we do have some really good players returning. You know, you got guys like Johnny Chaney and Kelvin Dean. Again, the offensive lineman that we're bringing back, Kendall Bowler. You know, General Hunt, Anthony Dunn. I mean, we do have some star power. You know, a lot of those all-conference performers that we had this year are returning, and so the cupboard's not bare. We just have to fill some spots, but that's every team in the country. So we're excited about signing day tomorrow. Excited about signing day in February. and we feel like we'll be able to go out and continue to grow this program by bringing quality young men into the fold.
No doubt.
Yep.
Mike?
No, Coach, real simple. I know you're going to hit the recruiting trails hard, but if you look back over this last year, and now you're starting the rotation again, I know your approach is phenomenal. But is there anything that you tweak or do different going into this year, knowing you may have a different mix of players?
Yeah, I think every year you go in and you look at yourself introspectively and you do an assessment. We're 12-1. We're going to finish in the top 5 in the country at the FCS level. But obviously, we didn't do everything perfectly. So we'll look at our schemes every year. I study other teams and try to get at least one thing that we can add to the fold to make us maybe a little bit more dynamic or hard to defend. We do the same thing on the defense side of the ball in this special team. So right now, with the season just ending, it's too premature to really say we look back. I mean, I'm still looking at the Howard game, still kind of compiling my end of the season cut-ups to really start looking at ourselves and what we've done. And but yeah, it's always a goal to you can't stay the same. I said that Thursday in the luncheon. I echo those sentiments in my coach's show on Monday. No one ever stays the same. You either get better or you get worse. And so for us, we aspire to get better. So that means continuing to grow and develop the program. And if you look at us offensively, we're drastically different in 2023 than we were in 2018, schematically. I mean, that's some things we do a lot now. The core is still there. We still run the same base runs and some of the same base concepts, but the presentation is drastically different. The personnel groupings are drastically different. And so, we didn't play in any empty formations this year. I don't think we had one snap of empty. Well, depending on who we bring in at quarterback, or if Junior Murray Toby wins the job or one of those other guys, maybe that's something we look into. We didn't do a lot of unbalanced formations. So there's always ways to tweak things, but you just got to be smart that you don't add too much without taking some things out. And there were some plays that we practiced this year that we didn't run, and we got to look and see if it's worth bringing those plays back. So I think that's all part of the evaluation process for yourself. And but we'll definitely work hard in the offseason to make sure that when we come back and touch the field again next August for the MEAC SWAC Challenge, that we're not the same. We don't look the same as we did 3 days ago.
Sure.
Interesting. You ended in Atlanta, and now you start in Atlanta. I know a lot of times people are talking about starting in Atlanta, ending in Atlanta. You get to end, start, and then try to end it again in Atlanta as repeat champion, which we haven't seen in a while. But with that being said, I know you hadn't fully had a chance to review the Howard game as you talked about, and time moves fast. But have you had any time to reflect? And if that's the case, what are your top 1 or 2 moments thus far that really have stuck out to you regarding this season?
The entire season?
Yes.
Obviously, the Orange Blossom Classic. What was sorry, Charles. I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. It's not intentional. He asked the question. I'm being honest. So did not. I saw your facial expression change. I apologize. It really wasn't to shoot a jab. It was an honest answer. But no, just the Orange Blossom Classic, the opening kickoff. The opening kickoff against Jackson, the Orange Blossom Classic. It really set the tone and the momentum for our season. I mean, what better way to open the season? I don't think I've ever been a part of a team to open the season with a kickoff return for a touchdown. So just how it ignited our team. I mean, I think we always had the belief going in that we had a chance to be a really good team, but it almost seems like that kickoff stamped it. Like it solidified. Like, yeah, this is a different team. Like, we're the team of destiny this year. So that moment was definitely special. The post ball against Texas Southern, when we were down 14-0 and nothing seemed to go right, and we hit the big post ball to Jamari Gassett, before halftime. Same thing. It's like once he made that catch and scored, I mean, it's almost like everybody took a deep breath. Like, okay, yeah, let's go play ball now. And again, this team is just weird like that. Like they kind of have those moments, and then obviously in the championship game. When probably the biggest moment was the fourth down conversion. Going into the fourth. I mean that.
Yeah.
People don't talk about that play very much. They talk about the flea flicker. They even talk about the throwback to Moose that got called back. Talk about the wheel route to Wu down the sideline, but that fourth down conversion was critical. I mean, Moose sat in the pocket. He threw a ball in the window as tight as I've seen. Kamara made a phenomenal catch, caught it, and the guy hit him as soon as he caught it. He hung on to it, and we drove down and scored on that drive, and went up. And once we took the lead on that drive, kind of same thing. You just kind of felt like, okay, yeah, this is gonna happen. You knew the defense was gelling at the time. Howard didn't really have an answer for them, and we just felt that they're not going to put the ball in the end zone again. And they didn't. We even won on offense, but their offense didn't see the end zone again after that. After that point. So those are probably the three moments that stick out the most in my mind. There are a ton of great moments in the season, but just off the top of my head, those three moments really, really resonate. That it kind of speaks to the momentum shift that this team went through this year.
I would have led with the Texas Southern play.
You what?
I would have led with the Texas Southern play. Yeah, I mean, the score before halftime, that was huge. But
yeah,
go ahead and have your Orange Blossom Classic moment.
Boy, I tell you, I can't wait to get to the X-Wack Challenge in August to see where Charles is going in. Get good again.
Wow. If I could just see, man, if you could just capture Chuck's emotions on screen.
Well, again, we won't hold up any more of your time. I know you have a lot of things that you're trying to get done, and some of those include being recognized again as a champion. Well done. In all seriousness, we want to provide you accolades for doing that. We've seen you literally climb up the mountain, if you would, in terms of starting at least in the SWAC with us in terms of the offensive coordinator. Your travails at Prairie View A&M University, the valleys, ups and downs at Florida A&M, literally reaching the mountaintop in such fine fashion. And the tough thing about it for us that are outside of just pure fandoms of this is we know that you're just getting started. So that being said,
we got to deal with that.
Number one topic in the Prairie View chat. We got to deal with that.
Again, we want to say congratulations and we thank you for going out of your way to make sure that we get a chance to get some time to share with our fandom about your thoughts on this season and more than that, just football and the life of individuals that you're making a difference in. So we thank you so much for that. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. And we look forward to next Thursday as we get into the lab and get into some more discussion. We'll start seeing if we can shift things into basketball. And then, you know it, we even got some early baseball with FAMU ended the season last year as a champion. So they kind of bookending things on the men's side of sports. We'll see if somebody can stop this train of rolling and the heels, as they like to say, over there in Tallahassee. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. It's DrKenyattaCadil, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I know that's the highest of 7 years. We got a hill over here in Alabama A&M, a hill at Prairie View. I got it.
We got a little ball.
I know my HBCU history. I know it. I got it. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Nobody didn't say that.
Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Facebook, YouTube. With that, let me give you a final thought, Simmons, before we do our official close.
Well, no, man, it's been an amazing ride this season, and again, I want to thank Rattler Nation just, for their support. It was great to see orange green in the stands, just in the city of Atlanta. The excitement, that we still share, it's a special feeling, so again, really, really excited about the direction of the program. The leadership that we have under Dr. Robinson, Vice President, Director of Athletics, Tiffany Don Sykes, their leadership team. Again, I can't do this alone, and it takes support. It takes a full commitment from everyone involved, and that's why this thing is so special, because when we talk about that family, it includes everyone. So again, just honored to lead this great program. Blessed to be in this situation, and in all seriousness, I really appreciate the love, the support, the friendship, that we all share. We're rivals once a year, but 364 days out of the year, I value that friendship, and it means the world. And genuine relationships is what this thing is all about, and I truly appreciate it. So, happy holidays to not only you guys, but everyone listening in. Enjoy yourself, be safe. Continue to support the SWAC. It was great to see all the other teams and logos there at the game. As always, this was SWAC versus MEAC, and we finally brought the trophy back home to the SWAC, and we don't intend to give it back anytime soon. So that's a challenge to the other 11 head coaches here in the conference. Of course, we're going to work hard to try to run it back, but in the event that we don't, whoever comes out of the conference, they have a tall task to go in and take care of business and bring the trophy back home. So again, just thankful to be in this spot, and also always honored to be on with you guys.
Appreciate it. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
Champion Coach Simmons? Dismiss. Cigar to you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, Coach.